Welcome to your tour of Volunteer Scheduler Pro for events. Scheduling volunteers for an event can be a stressful and time-consuming process, but it doesn't have to be. Effective scheduling makes coordinating volunteers easy for you and participating easy for your volunteers. When scheduling is effective, collecting volunteer information, filling shifts, and communicating with volunteers is easy, which makes coordinating volunteers easy. Moreover, the sign-up process is simple for volunteers. They are scheduled at times that work well for them, and they know when they are scheduled, which makes volunteering easy. In this tour, you'll see how VSP for events makes scheduling your next event easy, both for you and your volunteers. Let's start by seeing how VSP for events makes it easy for volunteers to enroll online, which simplifies data collection and also helps make volunteering easy. Using VSP for events, volunteers can enroll online using a user-friendly, customizable enrollment form. Most organizations put a link to the online enrollment form on their website. First, volunteers fill in their basic contact information. Then, they can choose which jobs they are interested in from a list of available jobs. When a volunteer clicks on a job, a customizable description of that job appears right below the job list. Very clear instructions tell volunteers how to indicate in which jobs they are interested. Once volunteers have chosen the jobs that interest them, they fill in their scheduling preferences. VSP for Events' unique scheduling model helps ensure all shifts are filled, without you having to make last-minute phone calls to fill in gaps in the schedule. With VSP for Events, volunteers can either choose the exact shifts they'd like to work, or they can offer to help when they are most needed. VSP for Events will then automatically fill shifts as efficiently as possible while honoring volunteers' requests. VSP is the only event scheduling software that uses this unique model to help eliminate tedious phone calls to fill gaps in the schedule that occur when using the basic self-sign-up model. Let's see how it works. Volunteers that are willing to work when they are most needed will choose the first option. These volunteers can optionally submit any unavailable dates or times they can't work, like this. VSP will automatically place volunteers who choose this option where they are most needed, while ensuring they are never scheduled during any of their unavailable times. Volunteers who prefer to choose the exact shifts they'd like to work will choose the second option. These volunteers will be presented with a calendar that shows the dates with open shifts in blue. Simply by clicking on a day in the calendar, the volunteer can see the available shifts on that day. He or she requests a shift by clicking one of the open jobs. This user-friendly calendar interface was carefully crafted to make it simple for volunteers to pick their shifts, which makes volunteering easy. When finished filling in scheduling preferences, volunteers click the Submit button at the bottom of the page. When an enrollment form is submitted, it appears within VSP in a virtual stack of forms. When an enrollment form is processed by clicking on the Process Form button, the volunteer is created inside the VSP database, and if the volunteer chose specific shifts to work, he or she is assigned to those shifts. In this example, we'll see that John now appears within the program in our list of volunteers with all of the appropriate information. And he also appears in the schedule at the shifts he requests. This is what your master schedule looks like from an administrator's perspective. You'll create a schedule like this inside VSP for Events before you open up enrollment to your volunteers. To fill in empty shifts with volunteers that have chosen to help when they are most needed, you'll click the Auto Schedule button. VSP will then fill in empty shifts while respecting volunteers' availability constraints. The Auto Scheduler makes it easy to fill empty shifts without tedious phone calls and ensures that volunteers are scheduled at times that work well for them. Now let's look at how VSP makes it easy to communicate with volunteers and ensures that volunteers know when they are scheduled. VSP's built-in emailer can be used to send an email to all volunteers or just volunteers meeting certain criteria. Before your event, you'll use it to send a customizable welcome email to all of your volunteers, clearly stating each recipient's scheduled shifts for the upcoming event. This email will make it very clear when each volunteer is scheduled. When using the emailer, Tokens and curly brackets are replaced with the appropriate information for each volunteer. You can view how each email will look by clicking on the preview button. If a volunteer realizes he or she cannot make one of their scheduled shifts, they can click on the Request Sub link. When a volunteer requests a sub by clicking on that link, an email will go out to all other volunteers that are qualified and available to work the shift, and those volunteers can accept the shift by clicking a similar link. Enabling volunteers to quickly find subs online helps avoid last-minute phone calls to find replacements, which makes both coordinating and volunteering easier. You can also set up VSP to send automatic email reminders and text messages to volunteers as their scheduled dates approach, which helps volunteers remember their commitment and also cuts down on no-shows. The welcome email that you send to volunteers will also contain the information they need to view and update their schedule and contact information online through the web terminal, which is an online space that is personalized for each volunteer. When volunteers log into the web terminal, they'll see 4 tabs. The Home tab contains basic information about the event and a brief description of the other tabs. The content displayed on the Home tab is completely customizable. The My Schedule tab shows each volunteer their scheduled shifts and also lists any available shifts for which people have requested a sub for one of the volunteers' jobs. The Full Schedules tab shows the complete schedule. If there are any unfilled shifts in the schedule, a volunteer can sign up for those shifts simply by clicking on them. The My Profile tab allows volunteers to view the contact information on file for them and make changes to that information if necessary. The web terminal makes it easy for volunteers to see when they are scheduled, sign up for additional shifts, and update their contact information from anywhere, which helps make volunteering easy. This completes your tour of VSP for Events. You've just seen how VSP for Events implements effective scheduling by making both coordinating volunteers and being a volunteer easy. Using VSP for Events, collecting volunteer information, filling shifts, and communicating with volunteers is easy, which makes coordinating volunteers easy. Moreover, the sign-up process is simple for volunteers, they are scheduled at times that work well for them, and they know when they are scheduled, which makes volunteering easy. We invite you to contact us to discuss your next event and how we can help.